All right, so we kind of went off topic for this one topic, but moving on to the second one, Space Marines in the meta. I think maybe most of us have played Space Marines at some point in time, at least against them, if not
against them,
with them.
I'll say against them, yeah.
What do you guys see as strengths of Space Marines, weaknesses of Space Marines, when you try and build a Space Marine list? What do you build around? And what are you afraid when you're playing Space Marines of seeing against you? And if you're going to play Space Marines, what are you afraid of?
Hellblasters.
Yeah. Hellblasters are ugly. I found a... I can't think of what they're called now. Suppressors kind of scare me in the new list. But I'm also afraid of running into one of those very nice and fine repulsor lists that was in the meta there for a minute.
Yeah, repulsors are gross. They're big. They put out a lot of dice, which make them great targets for rerolls or stratagems, because anything that affects one unit is great when it affects one unit that puts out 140 strength 5 shots.
Yep.
All right, I'm just bear with me. I think I told Brandon before. I have trouble differentiating between the units for Space Marines, because to an Orc player, they're all just people in suits that need to go away.
Yeah, they are kind of scary like that.
Yeah. So I'm just there's one in particular. It's like the newer version of the Terminator, like Centurions maybe. Is that a thing?
Yeah, they came out in 7th, but they got a lot of big boost.
Yeah, I've before I understood what an omni-spec scan is. You know, where you drop things 9 inches away and they shred them. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, or Primaris Aggressors. Those are gross.
They put out a lot of shots too.
And from the Eliminators are a newer unit. Well, not newer, but they're a unit that's always kind of scared me, just with their ability to reach out and pinpoint characters.
Yeah, they're a mortal wound machine against characters, especially since they're firing sniper rifles that you can't hide a character from.
Those are the ones that have jump packs, right?
No, they're the sniper.
No, those are the aggressors.
Aggressors are the ones with can shoot twice if they don't move.
Okay.
And you usually give them the frag launchers, which are D6 shots, but you have 2 of them, and then if you shoot them twice, it's 4d6 with D6 frag grenades off the top of them. So you're shooting 5d6 shots for each aggressor. It's real dumb real fast. Or you give them flamers, which are more shots, and they're guaranteed hits, but they're shorter range, which makes them harder to use. Because if you use a flamer, the way to get around flamers is that they're 8-inch range. If you charge from 9 inches away, they can't fire them at you. So yeah, you're banking on a 9-inch charge, but you're also not getting overwatched.
Okay.
I also want to touch on the Vindictive War Suit. Oh my goodness, these things are gross. And you see, they're the ones that look like the baby carriers that you give them the...
Yeah. Right. The power lifter from Alien.
Yeah.
Where's Sigourney Weaver? Ridley, where are you?
They're good at close combat. They're good at shooting. You give them that flamer or the plasma, and they're good at mid range too. And you could take the Raven Wing, now they start 9 inches away from you. They're holding a mid board objective turn 1, and they're shooting you down.
That's the one that has the bolter with a drum on it at its hip, like a knife.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like the police
the gunslinging heavy bolter.
Yeah, it's high noon. You put a little cowboy hat on it. But so Josh, you play Space Marines. I mean, you play you Raven Wing Bikers but it's still a Space Marine flavor. What do you like when if you're gonna build a list you said you build a list a lot with motorcycles, but if you were going to tool up a competitive list, what would you bring?
Oof. So I'm still getting back into the swing of things since it's been a while since I've played. So I'm reading more about this Ravenwing Talon Master. You can take a Warlord trait that lets any nearby units move and still fire heavy weapons without penalty. So you can put that with a heavy squad.
Yeah. And then that would be like your Hellblaster. I think Space Marines in general, some things that they're great at, they're not bad at anything, which is a plus and a minus to them. They're Toughness 4, which is pretty middle of the road for everything. Primaris are 2 wound models, which are good. They're 3-up save, which is good. So that it's a very forgiving army if you put them in the wrong situation. I think downsides to Space Marines are they don't have inexpensive options for troops if you're going Primaris or HQ models, which means if you're going to try and build CP, you're eating up 1,000 points of your 2,000 points in troops in HQ. If you're going to try and get any of the bigger detachments, which I see people lean away from, which means you're going to have a CP hungry army. To get around that, a lot of people are bringing, the Loyal 32 Imperial Guard, but that's when you start pushing into the kind of douchey list. Like, if you're going to take 240 points of guard just to fill a hole in your Space Marine army that was supposed to be there to balance a Space Marine army, you're now playing at a level where you're playing at that hyper competitive level, which may not be the place to bring to a gaming store of 5 guys,
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
then,
I just want to make a quick correction to what I had said about that Warlord trait. Because I don't use a lot of the actual Marines, I missed the part where it said Ravenwing specific. So that wouldn't work for a heavy support squad or anything like that.
oh, gotcha.
But I do know that the Dark Angels, again, I'm still getting into this, different doctrines and different ammunition, I guess. So I know that Tabletop Tactics did a video that I just watched recently that explained it a lot better than I can, but it does look pretty gross.
Nice. So, getting back into the Space Marines, I think another issue with them is that a lot of the things we talked about, the heavy repulsor, the Invictus War Suit, although that may be fast attack, but the heavy repulsor and the heavy tanks, the Hellblasters, they're all heavy support choices.
Yeah.
And when you are trying to fill these formations up, you only have so many slots. So you're going to take your 3 repulsors, that's it. Like, you can't fit another one in unless you go heavy into the heavy support formation, but then you're eating up CPs that could be used for other things. The Invictus War Suit, I think the thing that makes it so scary is that it's an elite choice. So it doesn't eat up your repulsors or your Russes or any of your tanks or any of that stuff, your Wyvern or your Hunter Killer missiles. All that stuff's in heavy. And then Eliminators are also, I believe, an elite choice. Things that are light in Space Marines, I don't think a Space Marine has a great fast attack choice. Other than, like, Ravenwing.
I would argue that. I think the Inceptors and the Suppressors are pretty good for fast attack choices.
But would you want to take a Suppressor over an Aggressor, a Repulsor tank, or an Invictus War Suit for a hyper-competitive situation? If we're looking at, I want to go to Nova and I want to try and place top 10.
No, I'd have to agree with you.
Because I think you're right. In a all-comers friendly list, suppressors are good. They're not bad.
I would have to go maybe with a scout-like squad or something. because I think they'd be
Yeah, see, bikes right there, man.
Yeah, back to the bike meta. I
Now-
think with the scout bikes, they can put out enough fire to make it worth it and be able to still scout and hold objectives for you.
Okay. Another thing that is unique to Space Marines, and it does kind of touch on the scout bike thing. Space Marines got a big change in 8th edition. They're one of the first armies, in my knowledge of 40k, that basically got a reboot of their product line without changing their existing product line.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of an issue because you've got a lot of players like me that have majority stock in the older stuff. I've still got 8 or 10 dreadnoughts that I love running. I love running dreadnought armies. I really do. They're fun. They're not real flavorful, but they're fun, and every one of my dreadnoughts is converted differently.
Sure.
But for being competitive, like Brandon said, the entire line got a whole reboot this edition. Everything I've got can still be used, but I don't have any of the new stuff, so I'm way on the outs competitively.
Yeah.
And I can't even think of a competitive Space Marine list. The first list that comes to mind is how many rhinos can I fit into this list? How many drop pods?
Yeah.
Can I drop 8 drop pods and have like 4 rhinos? Is that a thing I can do?
So, yeah. So that's some of the competitive meta Space Marine lists right now are area denial space drop pod spam, which uses a loophole in the rules that says your drop pods could either have their doors open or closed, and if they're open, they count as the vehicle. So you can put 3 drop pods down, just open the doors between the drop pods so that you could wall off sections of the map and cause your opponent to have to go around or charge the pod and deal with the pod while deploying your units on the other side of the doors.
It's like saying I can't step up over a curb.
Yep, it relies on a loophole of the rules.
Huh.
But
It sucks that all my drop pods and doors are glued closed.
yeah, you got to put them in the freezer so you can crack the glue off. But the other one is the 3 repulsor list with 3 Invictus War Suits, and it would just kill people before turn 2. You would.
Yeah, I've gone against that.
And how is that, Matt? If you played.
Well, I played against a very competitive player from across the river in the land of the Maple Leaf people.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah. No, the Maple Leaf people. You know who that is, right? Canada? No. Come on, you're from Michigan. You should know. Yeah, no, that's... yeah, those aren't fun. He also had a nice mix of thunder fire cannons in there. Which, I was running
old models, still very forceful.
Yeah. So no terrain on the field for me to hide in, and I was running Mega Knobs. So cut my movement in half, cut my charging in half, and then mowed me down.
So, is there, because we touched on it before in kind of the list building segment, is there a way to play that list, that competitive list, play with it, and not make you feel like the way you did when you were playing against it?
Yeah. So I've gone against some really souped up Space Marine lists, and it's the player. That guy in particular kept rushing me. He actually almost tried to pick up my dice several times so I could roll them faster, which was an interesting conversation. A couple of times, the other times that I've played it have been against guys that we actually physically hugged at the end of the match, which was great. Yeah.
That's a scary proposition with you.
So
you know what, Coleman, you'd love it.
What did those guys do? For people that don't want to make your opponent feel like the way that you felt,
right. So
what did they do?
So they gave me their list right off the get. and they, without me prompting, asked if I had any questions, and they weren't even focused on deploying it off of their display board. They were focused 100% on me, the opponent, to make sure that I understood what was about to happen. And once I was comfortable with what everything was, and they also also a good sign is if they tell you what each individual unit is, because like I said, aggressors, blah blah blah. It all sounds like a dodgeball team, laser, blazer, and taser.
Taser face.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's great. But yeah, so they took the time to tell me what was about to happen, and I was a little bit more comfortable with that. It's like when you go into a house party and you see things for the first time that you've never like what. I don't know if you guys experienced that on the west side of the state, but I live in a place that's fun. Oh, I went there. Don't shake your head at me, Ryan.
But you're 100% right. Some of the games that I've lost the worst, my opponent was just straight up with me. It's like, hey, this is what my army does. And like you said, this is what's about to happen. It's like about to go into a fight knowing that you're going to lose, but at least they're kind enough to tell you that you're going to lose, and they don't throw it in your face.
I've had opponents buy me sandwiches after the fact. They bought me lunch.
Pity food.
No, it wasn't that. Oh, it came with a beer, too. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Wine
fuel
and
badges
dine.
are real.
Wine and dine, baby.
So that's kind of our brief touch on Space Marines. Well, in battle. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there are 3 units that come to mind for Space Marines that I've never seen on the table, and I want to know why.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Vindictor. I think it's cool. Something called a Stalker and a Hunter.
Okay. So
Stalker and Hunter are specific. They're one kit. They are a Predator chassis, might be more of a Vindicator chassis, but they are, one's an anti-air gun, the other is an anti-air missile. Okay. I can't remember which is which.
The Hunter is a heavy 60-inch Sky Spear missile that shoots, but I think the reason you don't see it is it's 75 points for one model that shoots one missile, one dice, at a 3 up to hit. So you're looking, if it lasts all 5 turns, you're going to hit something 4 of the 5 turns, maybe, and you may wound something 3 of the 5 turns. And even then you're doing D6 damage if they don't make the save. So like, it's a 75 point model that may kill 75 points worth of stuff at the end.
Okay.
You said the Stalker was the other one?
Yeah.
So I think it's weird they just have 2 anti-air options in vehicle form.
Oh, we've got more than that.
Oh my god.
The Stalker, I think, has a better weapon. It's still only heavy 3. Heavy being hard because if you move, you're firing on 4s at full health. If you just do, because it has 11 wounds, if you can deal 5 wounds to it, then it's hitting on 4s. With it negates the fly -1 penalty, but a lot of flyers have ways to get other -1 penalties in addition to that. So you're now using 3 shots hitting on 4s. If you move 5s, sometimes 6s, like you're just, and that one's even more expensive. That unit's a 95 point tank.
Wow. Okay.
Now
those are some slick looking models, though. I've never seen those.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, I've got the box sitting in the closet.
I want to steal the guns from the Stalker and put them on like a Death Dread. Like put them on his ribs.
Sweet.
On his ribs, be like, "Hey, what's up? I'm here to party."
the Vindictor at 125 points. That was the last one you said, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is not that bad. It's a strength 10 heavy D6 cannon, AP -3 D6 damage. So that'll pop something. It'll
is
probably.
Is it the range though? Isn't the range?
The range
okay,
is
that's what is
24-inch range.
Okay.
Yeah, That one got popular for just a minute at the end of 7th edition.
Okay.
In the Apocalypse circles mostly, because there was a formation that
Made it the big APOC template.
yeah, you got 3 of them, and it made it the pizza plate template.
Okay, so it's a saucepan unit. Okay.
Yeah.
But isn't there still a stratagem that you can use for those? I'm sure there.
Yes. The key to that stratagem, though, is you have, just like the Tyranid stratagem for the Psychic Zoanthrope,
Okay.
you
Sure.
need to be able to give up the shooting of all 3 Demolisher cannons
Mm-hmm.
for the pick a point, deal the mortals around that point. So
Okay, so it's okay.
at its best, you're giving up 3d6, because it's still 24-inch range for the mortal spot.
Sure.
You're giving up 3d6 strength 10 shots at AP minus 3 d6 damage for an AoE mortals, but all you have to do is kill one of the 3 tanks.
Right. Okay, so
And
it's a
then they can't
lynch.
use it.
All right. So it's the same thing like with the Necron one with the
Yes.
flyers.
Yep.
Except these would be easier to remove. Their range is terrible for that kind of that kind of expenditure. Got you. It just looks cool. It has a giant shovel on it with in your face like, "Hi, I'm here to kick in your door and plow the snow off your driveway."